Hi Libra, this is Michelle coming at you with Page of Wands Tarot and Oracle readings. This is your twin flame reading for the month of August. I was just reviewing your last video, and from what I remember, it looks like masculines, you guys were working really hard, and there was a need to sort of go within and embrace a little bit about what was happening with your awakening and how you feel towards your feminine, and not becoming so upset over that and letting that kind of control your emotions. And feminines, it seemed to me like you needed to really balance out your passions as well and come into temperance a little bit and find a way to have faith in your awakening and trust that things were going to be moving in a positive direction for you. Okay, so that was all for the month of July, so I'm really excited to see how those energies have been playing out for you now that we are getting into August. And by the way, I am doing a new moon in Leo reading tomorrow for the new moon in July. A lot of really interesting energies happening here, guys. Some challenges. The sun and Mars are both going to be in and moon are all going to be in Leo. So you've got this contrast with the sun and the moon, and then you've got Mars, which is, the god of war, and there can be a lot of anger, a lot of challenges, a lot of temper flares, a lot of stuff like that happening, things coming to light because of the sun being in Leo, a need to trust and move beyond fear and become very future oriented in what you want, having courage and strength as well. So I think that's really the theme that's going to be playing out here for the next 30 days when we get into the new moon. And the first 2 weeks when the moon is waxing is the best time to sort of be clearing out all of that stuff to make way for those new intentions that you're going to bring in, clearing out those fears, right? And I'm going to be reviewing a great bottle of wine to go with that I think is going to be really apropos. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and lay out the spread. I do 3 cards for the Divine Masculine on my left, 3 cards for the Divine Feminine on my right, 2 connecting energy cards in the middle, and then we are going to clarify with Oracle as always. And just so you guys know, I'm using a different deck than last time. Right now I am using my Wild Unknown Tarot. This deck's really super cool. Check out this Tower card. Bamzo. Right? Great energy in these cards. Very, it's got kind of like a dynamic nature to it. They're very matter of fact. That's what I like about them. They're very black and white. They're literally black and white, but they're also black and white in their meaning and interpretation. So masculines, the first card is how you are feeling about yourself. And right now you've got the 7 of Swords. You're feeling a little bit sly here, guys. Maybe a little bit like you need to be protecting something and hiding something away for yourself. See, this fox is sitting on this sword, and this can very much be a card about deceit and lies. I don't like to be all, calling people liars and stuff like that, so I'm not saying you're being dishonest, but this card does really ring, it does really speak to that, to there maybe being something that you're not being totally open about. Okay, I'll put it that way. If it's not an outright lie, if it's not outright betrayal and deceit and all of that kind of like juicy, mucky stuff, then this could just be something that you're sort of hiding away and keeping to yourself. All right? Very much to yourself. Again, this is kind of how you're feeling about yourself. Maybe you're feeling a need to kind of protect yourself and be protective over those thoughts and feelings and the things that are going through your head right now. How you're feeling about your feminine is Death in reverse. This tells me that you don't think that your feminine is transitioning. And I don't mean from one sex to another, obviously here, guys. I mean a very internal shift in a very fundamental way of being. That's what the Death card is for me, right? This is transition, transformation. This is all about transformation. This is the cliche caterpillar turning into the butterfly, right? And in the reverse, that always tells me that someone is like denying this change or not being accepting of it, okay? And that's what I have for how you're feeling towards your feminines. And then under that, I have the Ace of Cups in reverse. Guys, this is the outside energy. The challenging energy here is the Ace of Cups in reverse. This is just a feeling of loss emotionally, a feeling of loss of love, or a loss of something that has the capacity to make you feel emotionally fulfilled is not there. It's completely empty. So I see this as your cup just, whenever I feel like I have nothing else left to give, I can't give of myself anymore, emotionally speaking, I say my cup runneth empty. And that's what this looks like here. Like, you guys think there's no love here, and you feel like you are having to really, like, hide something away for yourself or sneak away and do something on your own because your feminine isn't going through the shifts that you would want her to see. Maybe you feel like she's not trusting your love for her, and so you're kind of like, okay, well, then I'm just going to move on and do my own thing. But I'm not going to tell anybody. We'll see. Feminines, I have, for the way you're feeling about yourself, communication, swift action. That's what this is. This could also be action that has a very focused intent behind it. This is something that's not just like you're plodding along and you're like, well, I guess I'll just do this, and you're kind of half-assing it. On the contrary, this is very focused energy, very focused action, very decisive, right? Very intentful. Or this is communication. This could be your text messages, your phone calls, your Skype conversations, your Facebook messages, whatever you want it to be. This is how you're feeling about yourself. So maybe you feel like, I am doing all of this work. I am being very clear on the things I am doing. I am being very clear about the actions I am taking. I have intent behind them. I know what kind of results I want to see, and I am communicating how I feel. All right? And maybe the masculine thinks, no, you're not. And then under that, you have the Ace of Swords. So there's a lack of clarity here. There's something that you are either not seeing or has not been revealed to you. There's a sort of, this could be a denial, or it could not be intentional. It could just be that you really don't have all of the information that you need, and you really just don't quite have the foresight that you need, or the information that you need to move forward in the best way. And maybe that's what's causing a rift between you and your masculine. Perhaps you feel like, I'm doing all this communicating and I'm making all these decisive actions, but you're missing information, key information that would actually help get you to where you need to be, right? Because then right under that, we have the Devil in reverse. This card is all about trying to cut ties from something that does not serve you any longer. This could be cutting ties with something usually it's very much on the materialism plane, on a materialistic level. So this could be like, cutting your addiction to shopping and getting out of your credit card debt, or stopping a drug addiction, or stopping a lust and sex addiction, or an obsession towards somebody. This could be you really trying to cut off your masculine. It could be that you've had all this communication and you feel like you're not getting anywhere, you can't see what's really going on, and therefore you just really want to sever these ties. Or it could be that that's what this communication is about, is you sort of speaking your mind and saying like, no more, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm tired of this, I'm going to go over here and do this instead, but there's still something that you're missing. But all of that is in this effort to cut something off. And a lot of times I get a lot of substance with this, sex and substance. I get lust for this one a lot because that's my deal. It's probably not everybody's deal, but that's my deal. So anyway, I really feel like masculines are feeling on the defensive, and like they have to really protect and be secretive about something and be sneaky about something. And they feel like their feminines are not transitioning and there's no love, and feminines feel like, or they're not transforming, they're not doing the work. And feminines feel like, no, I'm doing all of this stuff. I've got all this stuff going on. I've got all this communication that I'm doing. I've got all this action that I'm taking. But how they feel about the masculine is, maybe they feel their masculine's just not fucking getting it, right? And that is the whole reason they just want to cut this off. They're just done and they just want to sever the ties. Connecting energy here, we have the Nine of Wands. This is all about battles. This is all about the battles that you fought going up these stairs towards this moon, right? These battles have all been fought under a very unsure, watery light. This path has not been very illuminated. It's been a little bit hidden from you in terms of what it could bring you, what it offers, and I feel like you've both been struggling really, really hard here, and you've both been fighting these battles knowing that there are unknowns, right? The thing about the 9 is that it's almost at the 10, which means we're almost at the full culmination of something here. We're kind of on that last leg of our journey, and we are deciding to put in one more effort, right? We are deciding if it's worth it for us to put in that one last fight on this journey. And then right under that, I have the Lovers. Wow, guys. So you're connecting energy, the 9 of Wands and the Lovers. This is that choice of head over heart or heart over head. I got to tell you, I think there's a lot of assumptions being made here. I think the masculines are doing a lot of assuming about their feminines and what work they are not doing, and have decided like, oh, there's just no love here, or I'm done, I'm out, I can't give myself emotionally to this anymore. And I think the feminines are like, I'm doing everything I can, I'm working really, really hard, I'm doing all this stuff over here, and this guy doesn't get it, this guy doesn't see it. But probably conversely, the feminine's not seeing something that the masculine is conveying, and then they're like, I'm done, I'm cutting the ties here because this isn't serving me, this is hurting me. Hurting me, because you both feel very road worn and weary for all of the effort you put in and all the fighting you've done. And I think there's just a little bit of emotional exhaustion here, and definitely a discord in the communication. And the energy here that needs to be decided is if you are going to think with your heart or your head. I explored this theory a lot, or this notion a lot, in a lot of the readings for July. Okay, it is often a challenge in the twin flame journey. The Lover's card is very at home in the twin flame journey, right? Because we're deciding, like, are we going to go with our head or are we going to go with our heart? Are we going to think about all the ways that this relationship is not possible or not practical, or how much our families are going to fight, or how difficult it's going to be together, or, where, maybe some of you have kids, what our kids are going to think. There's a lot of stuff going on that can go on in the twin flame journey that make things very, very difficult, right? These are not easy energies. That's why people like me do the readings, to try and help the situation. And I'm pulling your clarifiers right now, guys. Masculines, holy crap and a half is all I gotta say. Jeez, you too, feminines. Libras, you guys are passionate. I remember the last reading saying this, like, I didn't know you were so passionate. This, on top of the 7 of Swords, masculines, you get Temperance. This is great. This tells me you're doing a lot of soul work, and that patience and balance may be needed here. It's not in the upside down. So I'm not seeing that there's a lack of this here. I'm seeing that it's here. There's a need for it. It's present, but for some reason, it's on top of your 7 of Swords. So I don't know if maybe you are lacking in this, and maybe this is telling you that you need to call on this a little bit, because you're like thinking, I'm just going to go my own way and do my own sneaky little thing over here and do whatever it is I want to do. But really, there's a call for tempering your soul and your heart space and where you are at emotionally. For how you feel about your feminine, on top of the Death in reverse, we have Justice in reverse. This is a decision that needs to be made right here. This is a choice, a big choice, that has to do with your karma. It has to do with fairness and balancing the scales, right? And in the reverse, I think you feel like something hasn't been fair, and something's not just, and decisions that need to be made aren't, and choices that you would like to have maybe aren't there. But because this is towards your feminine, and I have the Death in reverse, this tells me that, as I said before, I think you think that she's not doing the work, and I think that you are finding this to be very unjust. Because I think you think you've done all this work. I've tempered myself. I've done all I can do. See? I got all these swords for myself because I've done the work. I've gotten my soul to the level it needs to be at, but my feminine's not doing the work, and that's not fair. That's not give and take. That's not equal balance here. And then, on top of the Ace of Cups in reverse, we have Judgment. This is like the karma card. This is like a call for a new beginning, in the sense of something where we have finally come out of an old karmic situation into a new one that involved forgiveness. And this calls on you to allow for forgiveness, because that is how you're going to find your peace. And that's how you're going to rise up from the ashes of whatever this is that's been going on into a new dawning day, right? And so on top of this lack of love, this lack of emotion, I feel like this is what you want, but I also think it's what you're going to get. But you need to be patient, and you need to wait for it. And you need to not feel like I'm just going to sit over here and be all clever and sneaky and do my own thing because nothing's working out my way. No offense, masculine. Feminine. The world reversed on top of your 8. You are trying way too hard to get this circle to complete. Okay? This, to me, has to do with closure and endings of a major life cycle, a major karmic cycle. Not quite the same as the judgment. It's a little bit different because I feel like this one has more of a universal implication because the universe is really being represented in this card. And in the upright, that tells me that there are bumps on the journey to destiny, right? This is sort of bumps on the road to your destiny when it's in the reverse. The cycle's not completing. The circle's not closing. Closure isn't happening for you, but you are trying so hard to make it happen. When I see these together, that's very much what I get. Right? You're throwing a lot of stuff up there, but nothing is sticking because no matter, you can't just force your way into this happening. Right underneath that, on top of the Ace of Swords and the lack of clarity, these cards, this one is an extension of the other in my opinion with these. Okay, feminines, this 4 of Swords means rest, but especially in this one, with this lamb, with the light shining on top of the head, that's sort of like your divine knowledge, right? That's a knowing, that's a calm wisdom and knowledge, like I'm going to rest. This is a card of non-action. What did I tell you? Stop all this and rest. And try to look within a little bit and understand what it is that you actually know. And what it is you can actually see. Because you have clouded judgment here. Or again, this is how you feel towards your masculine. So maybe you feel like they need to rest. And they need to see the situation for how it is. Because they have lack of clarity. Because their sword is reversed. Either way, I feel like this is kind of going both ways for you, feminines. I think you do need to take a rest from all of the stuff you've been doing to try and get the circle to close and get this whole thing to complete and be over with. But I also think you feel like the masculine needs to take time out here. And they need to understand what's going on because they're not seeing clearly that you're trying really hard here, which would be why they think this. And look, check it out. We've even got this sword again in the Justice card, right? That sword. Those swords, they're all the same. Then, on top of the Devil in reverse, feminines, you've got the Hierophant. This is very cool. This card to me, this is a card of Taurus, which is my sign, but I've struggled a lot with the meaning of this card for various reasons, but it can go different ways, and I have such a problem with organized religion. I don't like thinking of this card as being organized religion because I get it a lot, and I don't intend to ever go into any organized religion. But what I get from this card is mentorship, healing and teaching, and education, study, disciplined study, foundational study. It can be traditional structures. It can be traditional relationships. It can be institutional learning. It can be institutional religion, sure, in a lot of cases. But I see this as being like a teacher, and because there's a raven or a crow here who bring news from the other side, bring messages from the other side, they're the harbinger of the messages of what's behind the veil, and he's got the key there to unlock the mystery of life and what's going on. And you've got this lightning bolt, which is kind of like these aha moments, like this really sacred occult knowledge, right? In this deck especially, I think we get that, this occult magic knowledge that can really be bringing the key to unlock the mysteries of what's going on. And this is on top of the Devil in reverse and this thing that you need to break away from. So I think that the way that you need to break away from whatever is feeling you bound, either you feel bound by something institutional in your life, perhaps you feel bound by your religion, perhaps you have a religious difference between you and your masculine. that's very, very possible in the twin flame journey, or you just need to study a little bit, like practically, like actually study something in order to get you not feeling bound here. Or it could be that you're married. It could be that you're married and that you need to get out of your marriage and untie yourself and unbind yourself from that, because we have to cut all of the cords of our old lives in order for anything new to really fully manifest and take place the way we want it to. All right, guys, that's true on a multitude of different levels. All right, so that's what I'm really getting here for you, is that there's something institutional, something foundational that you need to break away from. Or in order to break away from something that's making you feel bound, you need to study something, look into something, research something, find a mentor or a teacher that's going to help you. Maybe you need to get out of a drug addiction and you need a mentor or a counselor or a sponsor. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Maybe you need to connect more to your spirituality, and you really need someone that's going to help you with that. Not having spirituality doesn't normally make us feel like we're, being bound by something, by the devil, but it's usually a materialism thing, like I said. So this could very much be a mentor or a teacher. Okay, guys? Okay, feminines? All right, wow, and don't forget, we've still got this. We've got this struggle still happening here for you guys, but we've got the Lovers card here, which is a very positive omen for the twin flames, right? But again, it's all about using your heart. I see a lot of head space happening here. I want you guys to tune in a little bit more to your heart space here before we get into the eclipses in August on the 21st, okay? And I really want you to work with the new moon energy that's coming in Leo, and to get yourself out of all of these fears. I'm seeing a lot of like preconceived notions here. Okay, this is what I think is happening. This is what's happening. This is what's going on, and it sort of makes you paranoid. All right, so let's go ahead and clarify. I'm going to clarify with my messenger oracle. I was going to use my sacred rebels, but those messages are so amazing. It just takes me too long to read them. These are a little bit more to the point, and they've been a challenge for me, but I kind of like that. So I'm just going to go with it. And then we're also going to clarify each side with my Vintage Wisdom Oracle deck, because these are just, they're really great one-word oracles, and I find that they make the readings really super easy to sort of, to pick apart. Okay? All right. So, first things first, we've got Messenger Oracle for masculine Libras. You guys have some challenging stuff to work through here in August. I'm not going to lie, but I really, really want you to hold tight, because I feel like we're all just so on the cusp of everything becoming positive. So I just really want everyone to sort of like hold tight and rest assured that things are going to work out okay. We just, the most challenging thing is just trying to remember that sometimes, and not letting our fears get the best of us. And I know how difficult that can be. Okay? Masculines, be vigilant. Be vigilant. I've been getting this card a lot, and it's been giving me a little bit of stress, and it's been giving me fear, because I'm like, why do I have to be vigilant? Who's going to hurt me? Who's going to harm me? What's going to happen? This has a protective element, but it could be that you need to be vigilant about protecting others as well. Okay? And I'm really feeling this on these two cards here, that there's a need. Maybe the reason you're feeling like you have to be sneaky here and not be so honest is because you are protecting yourself a little bit here. Maybe you're feeling like vulnerable, like you've given a lot of love, and you just don't see this happening for you yet, because you can't see it. It's an outside influence, and you're not feeling that, or you're not seeing sort of the reason all of this is been needing to happen so it can get you to a place where where forgiveness can take place and you can feel like you've been resurrected and can move forward in peace. And because you just feel so betrayed and I don't know, like you feel disappointed, I think, and a little bit hurt and a little bit like you just really need to hold on to your heart here and protect yourself because you've been fighting this really, really long battle and I think you just feel so unsure. But if anything here needs to be protected, I think it's just your own heart space, okay? I really do. I think that, and not because people are out to hurt you, but that you do need to hold on to protecting your heart, all right? And a lot of that has to do also with not overthinking and not succumbing to your fear because that is going to hurt you as well. Sometimes we hurt ourselves more than anybody else could ever hurt us because we're just so blinded by our own fear, right? That we start to make decisions that aren't necessarily the best for us. I don't know. That's just the message I'm getting for you guys, okay? I don't even know if that made sense, but that's the message I got. Feminines, you got let the emotions flow. This is a very beautiful card because of all the green. I get a lot of heart chakra with this. I love that her third eye is being represented there. I love that there's all this water. I mean, clearly this is a very emotive card. You know, water has to do with our intuition and our emotions. And I feel like what this is saying is that you do need to sort of experience your own grief. This card kind of reminds me of the Five of Cups. Sometimes if you get that as an advice card, I feel like that's because we sometimes need to sit in our grief and we need to sit in our sadness and we need to kind of become one with those emotions so we understand how to work through them so that we can move past them and then get ourselves to a better place. If we constantly just push them down and push them down inside of us and we're not really connecting with our emotions and connecting with how we feel, what's going to happen is they're going to bubble up at a later time in a circumstance that might not necessarily have to do with the actual reason that we're upset. So it's very important to be present. That's the biggest thing I'm getting right now. Be present in your emotions. I think there's a lot of striving. I think there's a lot of striving to, again, close this circle, complete this circle, and get this closure, and distance yourself from this thing that is making you. By the way, I just got, the message I just got to you guys is to put these together and show you that the Hierophant can actually be representative of the twin flame journey itself because it is such a foundational experience. It's a very specific foundational experience with very complicated ties and roots to all of our karmic cycles and our past lives. That's very much what this card could be representing in tandem with the Lover's card here. Is the twin flame experience in and of itself. Feminines, I think you are just trying to break away from this. I really do. I think you're just trying to break away from this and you need to just sit for a minute. Remember how I said I also think this message might be for you in a way? I think that's because you need to sit with your emotions and connect with your emotions in your heart space and really evaluate how you feel about this and just be present. Be present in those emotions, okay? All right, last oracle card for you guys from the vintage deck here. All right, so Libra, Masculines. By the way, if anybody would like a personal reading, my information is in the description box there. There's links to my Facebook page as well as my Instagram page. I don't have a website, but my email is there, so you can just email me there. Sorry, I've had too many websites in the past. I can only pay for one right now, and that's for my event planning company. So that's what makes me the big bucks. So that's what gets the website. But please do feel free to email me or just like, subscribe, and share these videos. You can unlike it if you like. You can thumbs down me if you don't like it. But please tell me why. A lot of people do that and they don't say why. But I'd like to know. So, masculine. Gratitude. Remember when I was talking about forgiveness? I feel like this has a lot to do with this card and this forgiveness that needs to take place. There needs to be a reevaluation here of why this has all been happening. And this again goes in tandem with this Temperance card, okay? The gratitude is all about, it's very, very difficult to sit here and say, be thankful for this experience because it's been hell on earth, right? How the hell can we be grateful for going through this? That's something that I've really, really struggled with. Just having daily gratitudes is hard as well. So I think that this is all about trying to have your daily gratitudes and trying to see the situation for something bigger than it is, or for what it is, right? On a bigger scale is what I'm trying to say. I do find this to be a little bit conflicting with your vigilant card. Be vigilant. You know, this sort of air of protection. But I also think that there's something to be gained from this that you're not really seeing. And maybe, again, that's what this is all about, this lack of clarity card, the feminine seeing in you. And you seeing that this isn't, you don't think that this is happening, but really the feminine is doing this work here. She's just trying to work through her emotions. Okay? So, yeah, I guess the daily gratitude is what is an important message for you. And that is never a bad thing, right? When we think back to the ways that this has really helped get us to a place where we can temper our emotions and get to a sort of a higher spiritual level so we can, when we understand ourselves on that soul level a little bit more, then we can balance better, right? And that's where the balance and the patience comes in. All right, so feminines, for you, I get release. Release. And again, this is about control for you, feminines. I'm very much seeing this being about control, okay? And also releasing your emotions, letting your emotions flow, not trying so hard to make all this stuff happen before it's time for it to come around on its own. And again, really trying to cut yourself off from the situation. Trying really, really hard to cut yourself off from the situation. If there is something negative that's keeping you feeling bound to where you feel like it's unhealthy, then absolutely I would encourage you to let go of that, for sure, especially if it's related to substance abuse or anything like that, any kind of addictions that don't serve us. But I really do think that this is a little bit more about releasing your fears and releasing control and releasing your emotions. Okay, so that's your messages, Twin Flame Libras for August. I hope you found this to be helpful. Thank you so much for visiting my channel once again. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Namaste.